quick disclaimer before episode 97 starts. Joe forgot to record audio and half of his footage is gone. So we're just using the Zoom recording for this week's episode. It'll be all pretty and good again next week, we promise. But you can blame Joe for the audio and video quality this week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Froe Show. My name is Frank Menken, and I'm joined, as always, by my beautiful co-host, Joe Murray, who did not start his camera before we started recording.
I started it perfectly. You won't have to do any...
That's not true, because with the delay, it'll be slightly later.
Lies. That's fine. It's fine.
It's all right.
Hey, my camera cuts out halfway through, so I have to leave it till the last second.
This is a good point. I will allow it. Just as good. Episode 97.
Yeah. Damn. 3 episodes away from 100.
Yeah. So, you know what I realized this morning, actually?
What?
Is that we need to start planning episode 100, like, now.
Yeah, like a month ago, kind of.
I mean, is what it is.
Yes. We should do that.
Alternatively, what we can also do is just go, if we push episode 100 back and we just go from 99 to 101, and then we just do episode 100 at a later date.
That's actually not a bad idea. We should definitely still organize it now, but it's going to be hard to do it in 3 weeks anyway, because that'll be like peak pandemic for Brisbane.
Yeah.
That's what they're predicting, at least.
Yeah, I know. Well, we will talk about this off the show.
Yeah, that
I think potentially
that's probably what's going to happen.
As dumb of an idea as that is, it might actually end up being what we do.
It might be the best one that we've had. So.
You said before the show that you had a topic that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, like, what's today? Today's the 12th of the new year. And something I've struggled with coming back from holidays, and I'm sure like there's other creators out there. I don't know if you're the same, because you kind of got straight back into creating, but like getting back into that mindset and almost forcing yourself to create again after having some holidays. I wonder, can we like brainstorm a bit? Because we spoke a lot about this last week, but can we talk about it more like, how can we help people, do you reckon, to get back into being creative? Or, how did that work for you to suddenly switch on the first?
Well, I mean, I didn't really stop. I guess what I did this time that really helped was I ramped it down instead of stopping. So instead of like, because I had a break, my like work break started on the 18th of December.
Yeah.
And then like I was still making a reel every day, and I was still posting on Instagram. And I was still making like little like shorter vlogs here and there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever really stopped.
Yeah, right.
So I kind of circumvented that.
That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
It's just to not stop and keep going with something. I don't know.
But what was your experience coming back then?
I'm still not like back into 100%, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting there. I don't know. And for me, I've tried to force myself to work at a different time to usual, which has also been a bit challenging.
Interesting.
Yeah, so normally I get like really creative in the PM. So normally, it's actually really strange. About 6 p.m. at night, I kind of switch on. So if I haven't done anything that day, it's like everything's going to get done between 6 and 8.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
It just happens. But now, this year, in the last like probably week and a half, week and a half, I've been starting at 8:30 in the morning and trying to be creative like first thing. Yeah. So that's probably been a challenge in of itself, because I often just get distracted and sit there on my phone.
Yeah, naturally.
So that was most of last week spent just getting distracted, which is fine because it was first week back. Got to give some grace. Well, no, but I'm giving myself some grace.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then this week, I've been getting up earlier, so having more time between wake up and start creating, or forcing myself to start working. And the other thing is just not touching my phone when I sit down to start. So often what I used to do is like waiting for my computer to boot up or waiting for Pro Tools to open. I jump on my phone real quick, and then instantly my brain was like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like I've done a task, rest time, pretty much. And so that was the biggest wake up call for me beginning this week. Is just I think it was yesterday. I just was like, no, I'm not gonna touch my phone. I'll just sit here while my computer boots up and whatever. And then I've had the most productive day like ever. So
that's good.
Yeah. So I don't know if I guess you haven't had the similar experience, but have you ever had to force yourself to be creative at maybe a different time? Or
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm different in that I don't get like bursts of creativity. Because a lot of what I've been, and I talked about it a little bit in last week's episode, but one of the main reasons I wanted to start the vlog was because I want to not rely on motivation. I don't want to rely on that feeling of like, okay, I feel motivated now, I feel creative now. Like I'd rather just have it be disciplined and consistent. I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's the way that I've been thinking about it. And in terms of when I feel creative during the day, with that mindset, it doesn't really make a difference because then I'm forced to be creative over the course of the day. So rather than like what you said, being creative from 6 till 8, I'll take that creative energy and spread it out across the course of the day so I can be more creative more consistently.
Yeah, right.
I think that's kind of more the way that I work. But that said, I feel like I come up with the best ideas in the morning. Like I come up with the best ideas like in the first hour from when I wake up, basically. And then I execute the best ideas later. So from probably 5 o'clock. Like that's why I really enjoy editing the vlog in the evening or in the afternoon, because I feel like I can be more I feel like I can cut more and be more kind of like systematic with how I am editing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm most creative in the morning, but I'm most productive as the day goes on.
Yeah, okay. How do you go about then like switching in and out of, or just switching back in to being creative? Is there a trigger for that, or does it, I don't know.
I don't know. I've never really thought about it that much.
Yeah. Oh.
I kind of just am like, yep, I have to. It's not like, I don't know. For me, it's not, I don't have a creativity button. Like I'm not like, okay, now I have to be creative. It's more like, okay, now I have to make something. Like I think of it as like, building something, or as, putting together IKEA furniture. Like in my head, I have the process of how it gets done. And then the creative quote unquote aspect of it will come as I'm creating it. It's not like I am creative now and therefore I can create. It's I am creating and therefore the creativity comes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can relate to that.
Yeah. Because I always am like editing the vlog, or I'm editing a video and I'll go, oh, that'd be really cool. Or no, more so I'll be shooting the vlog and I'll be like, oh, that would be really interesting for this section. Or like I'll shoot something and I don't really consciously know what that shot is for yet. And then when I'm editing it, I'll go, oh, that pieces in really nicely in this section and I can cut through that. Like just little things like that where you're like, oh, okay, that's why I shot that, or that's why I made that.
Yeah.
But What are your
Yeah,
thoughts? Like outside of sound, I guess, like when you're doing any other creative stuff, like I'm thinking more in terms of like stuff that isn't our discipline. Like for example, when we did that
okay,
painting thing with Micah, um,
right.
you know, we didn't really
Yeah,
have time then to go, okay, I feel creative now, therefore I'm going to create. Like that was like, okay, Micah is here. We have to film this
mm,
episode now within the next hour.
yeah.
Now is the time to create. Like, how did that make you feel?
That was I looking back at that, that was really tough. That
Yeah.
painting thing, which I think you picked up pretty quickly in the show for
Yeah.
me. Um, yeah, look, I'd probably just go back to what you said with the easiest way is while you're creating, then an idea will come, or you just you get creative while you're creating. You
Mm.
know, you kind of not force yourself into that mindset, but you're like your brain is already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember switching on in like the last probably 20 minutes.
Mm.
So I don't know. So I guess I wonder, how do you then force yourself for that first 40 minutes? Like if it was an hour episode, how do you get into it and stick it out for half an hour for that first creative thought? Like, if that wasn't to come for that long, would you put it down and come back later, you reckon, or you reckon you'd push through?
Well, I mean, like that's how I operate anyway. Like I'm very much I'm gonna set who is it? There's a guy who has this theory. I'm gonna have to look it up after the fact, but there's this guy that has a theory about the amount, no matter how much time that you allocate to a certain task, however much time that is, you will find a way to fill it. So if you have a task, and obviously within its means, so like say that there's a task that you can realistically complete in 30 minutes.
Mm.
If you set yourself a timer for that for an hour, for example, you will fill that hour. And you won't feel like you're doing less work and you won't feel like you're procrastinating, but you will find a way to fill that hour. Now, say that you set yourself a time limit of, say, 25 minutes, you will fill that time and you will very likely get it finished within that 25 minutes. Obviously, the further down you go, like if you're 20 or 15, like you're going to start struggling more and more and more. But like, it's that whole idea. I think the best way to think about it is how, and I don't know what it's like in other countries, but I know that in Australia, when we went through high school, we would get an essay in an exam, and you would have 90 minutes to write like a 1,000-word essay for a final exam, and
Mm.
you always found a way to fill that 90 minutes. You would
Yeah.
never at the end of that, like you would never reach 60 minutes and be like, okay, I'm done. Like you would maybe at 60 minutes, you would finish the basis of what you were writing, and then you'd spend 30 minutes going over it and fixing the grammar, or you'd read over it again and you add a paragraph, or you take away a paragraph. Like you managed to fill that time. And never in any of those after 90 minutes did I go, oh, I wish I'd had more time. Like you can maybe be like, oh, I could have potentially added this and this and this. But you were never like sitting there with half a paragraph and like a sentence and going, oh
Yeah.
man, I didn't get anything done in that time that I was set.
Yeah, right. That's really cool. That reminds me of something I did in high school, and I don't know why I stopped doing it. I would set a timer for 20 minutes and would be like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on this single task, like hardcore for 20 minutes. And then that would generally I would end up in the zone and
Yeah.
would go past that 20-minute mark and just then get it all done. And so that was like how I studied, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the exact same thing that I used to do. Not with a timer, but I would set like a day as my study day. And that would be the day that I put everything else away and I get it done. And I would manage within that day to cover an entire semester's worth of content.
Yeah, wow. How did you get such good grades? No,
That's
anyway.
it's literally just an understanding of how your brain works. I know that for me, a classroom setting doesn't work. Like being taught something isn't how I learn, but learning and teaching myself something is how I learn. That's how my brain processes information. So it's like if I set that time apart to learn it myself, and yes, in hindsight, I could have definitely done it much better and like set myself an hour every day rather than an entire day at the end of the term. But you know, is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think same thing with the creativity thing. It definitely comes down to how do you think that your brain operates?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
What do
I
you
agree.
think? How do you think your brain operates in that way?
I don't know. I feel like I need to do some tests.
Need to do some
Yeah,
tests.
need to run my brain through some exercises.
Oh yeah.
Definitely just finding a way to force myself into a
Yeah.
project. And probably when I'm feeling less creative, force myself into something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So trying to think. Or actually, no, example for this week. There was something that I had to do that was actually a really creative task that I had looked at a whole bunch of times last week and had done it earlier this week as well. And I just couldn't get myself to come back and finish it off. I just was like, I can't think of anything worse than to listen to this again. So I ended up going to another task that wasn't as pressing, but it was not creative at all. It was just editing.
Yeah.
So I just had to pull out the bits that sounded bad, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like that didn't really help me get creative, but then it was done. And the next day I was like, yeah, okay, I can look at this again. Because I felt productive the last day because I got this actually rather large task done that wasn't necessarily creative. So I don't know. I think just general productivity drives my creativity. Wow, I should put that on a t-shirt or something.
Yeah, productivity drives
Productivity.
creativity. But it's totally
Yeah.
right though. Like that's exactly how it works. And I think that's how it works for most people. Is if you feel proud of the output that you've made the day before, regardless of what it is, you're going to be more willing to create the next day and be more creative.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's probably how I operate. Yeah, just force myself into productivity.
Yeah.
And then that
But I mean, like
brings
that's what
creativity.
we've said about the podcast for like a year now, is that
Mm.
just doing it every single week resparks the creativity that we have. Or even not even the creativity, but resparks that motivation.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I
And it's really
can't yeah, sorry, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's really strange. It's strange coming back this year as well because we had quite a bit of momentum going into Christmas last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. And so I guess the way around that, circling right back to the beginning, is not stopping.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no. And I want to finish on one last thing. I can't remember exactly who says it. It might be Gary V, but don't quote me that it is. But the quote is good. Basically, it was something along the lines of, "You can never rely on motivation to get things done. Like you can't be waiting to be motivated if you have a task at hand." And setting yourself up with, I'm obviously very heavily paraphrasing, but setting yourself up with a protocol and that discipline is going to be infinitely more valuable than waiting on motivation. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of incredible artists all over the globe who are waiting to be motivated and who are waiting to get motivation to create their masterwork. But the reality is that you look back at all of these people across history and you look at what made them create masterworks, every single one of them, it was consistency. It was never on that one random Saturday in 1842, they were incredibly motivated and they painted for the first time in 6 months. No, it was always like, Leonardo da Vinci painted a painting like every single week of a different subject. And then eventually he landed on the Mona Lisa. Same thing with Van Gogh. He created every single day, every single week. There's a consistency to their creation. And it's that, like, if you throw enough stuff at a wall, one of them is going to be incredible. And on the whole, all of them are going to get very, very, very good because you're consistently practicing it. But there's going to be like 2 or 3 that really, really, really stand out. And you're not going to get that if you just wait for the motivation. Because if you just wait for the motivation, you're going to get like maybe an okay thing out there every 6 months.
Yeah. Do you reckon that's the hole we kind of fell in early last year?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think there was a period early last year where we were really motivated. Like when we were going out and shooting a lot. Like that was motivation. We were excited, we were motivated, we were pumped. But then the second that it got a little bit too complex for us to actually go out and organize those, we were like, oh, well, that motivation's gone, so we don't need to do that anymore, And I know I keep circling back to the vlogs, but it really is like becoming a really big part of my day-to-day now, because that is my consistency. Like I'm making something every single day, and I'm well aware that every single one is not going to be great. Like I'm even like some of them I've put out already. I'm like, wow, if I was not challenging myself in this way, this video would never see the light of day. Like it would just sit on my hard drive and I would never, ever, ever post it. But the fact is that by doing that consistency, like I'm at least getting something out. And that's the promise that I've made to myself, that something is going to be out every single day. And that's what creates that thing. Like the movie that I'm making right after we finish recording the podcast is one that I'm really, really excited to make. I have a couple others that I'm really, really excited to make. But I wouldn't have gotten to those ideas if I hadn't have gotten to the bad ones first.
Right.
But
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you reckon there are any other like ways that someone could create every day? Like very simple, I don't know how much longer we have left now. My time is gone, but kind of to finish, or if we're near there.
I have no idea. I think we're at like a little over 20 minutes. So we probably got another 10.
Oh, okay. Well, are there any tangible ways you reckon someone could create every day? Or like me, for example, could start creating every day, but not necessarily vlogs, like something that's even smaller.
Well, I think it doesn't have to be anything big. It just has to be one thing in the area that you like. Like and I think this is the key thing that I need to point out. I didn't start with the vlogs. The vlogs wasn't the first point of consistency. The first point of consistency was Instagram stories. And then from Instagram stories, it went to Reels. And then from Reels, we moved into sponsored stuff. And then from sponsored stuff, that consistency, because then I was contractually obligated to be consistent. From that consistency, I jumped over to the vlogs. It wasn't just like, I'm going to do vlogs now. Like there was clear stepping stones to where I got. Granted, they happened over the course of like maybe 3 months, but they were still like those stepping stones. So just start with something small. I think even like those, like if you're a visual artist, those like, what are they? The 30-day drawing challenges are really, really good for that. Like you wake up in the morning or like right before you go to bed, just spend like 15, 20 minutes getting that done, like drawing that piece or like doing that. If it's audio, like I'm sure you have, like you used to do those, what was it? The 30-minute mixes.
Yeah, they're 1 hour, but
1 hour mixes. Yeah, but I'm sure you could do something shorter, even if it's like, here's a list of random sounds. Every single day I have to make a new Foley sound, like just something like that.
Yeah.
It's just finding that like little thing that you can start with, and inevitably, I promised you that will grow into something else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I reckon that that journey of stories to reels, that's been for like a year, I reckon. In the making.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like I was like I think, yeah, probably from like June, July. I don't know. I did that. When was that Gary V? That was end of 2020, but I did the 15 posts a day. But that was too much. That overdid me a bit.
That was a lot.
That was end of November 2020 that I did 15 posts a day. But I don't know. That was fun, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do with my time.
Yeah, because that took up all your time.
That took up all my time.
I remember even aiming for like 7 or 8, and I was nowhere near it.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. And then I burnt myself out by doing that and blah, 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 blah. So I'm much more careful with my time now, I think.
Yes. Yes.
And actually, I do want to finish on this because I think we are kind of getting close. But I think a really important part of it that is really easy to forget is that it's a lot more about the intention than the motivation. So we've talked a bit about having that diligence and having that consistency. But yeah, I think that intention of like, what am I going to create? Why am I creating it? Like you have to answer all those questions first before you start doing anything. And that's why I'm so much more dedicated to the videos that I'm making now than I was before, because my why has changed. My why before was I want people to see my videos. I want people to experience what I'm creating. I want, but my why is now different. My why is now I want to have a documentation of my life up to this point, or of this certain point. And I want to create something every single day that improves me as a filmmaker. And I think that why needs to be personalized for every single person. Like if you were to do a day-to-day challenge thing, your why would probably be different to mine. In fact, I would bet that it would be different to mine.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think of like the three things we've talked about, I think consistency is at the top, then intention, then motivation. And at the very bottom of all that, that's like the pyramid of your creativity. And then that's like right at the bottom, all of that trickles down to create creativity.
Yeah, right. There you go. You should draw that.
I think I'm gonna make that.
Yeah.
Put that on a shirt.
Put that on a shirt.
Trickle down economics. It's my little MLM.
Trickle down economics. Love it.
Yeah.
Trickle down creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Alrighty. Do you have anything you want to finish on? Any final thoughts?
No, I don't think so. This has been a good episode. I like it. Okay. That's all I have to say.
Good. Are you gonna make something every day?
I'll look at it. I'm gonna have a think about what I can do every day. Yeah.
Good. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Maybe like the first half an hour when I sit down at my desk. That's like every day I'll do something.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Do you have any ideas? No.
Oh, for you?
Yeah, sure.
No, but I can think about it and come back to you next week.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Right.
Well, let's wrap it up then. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of The Froe Show. We hope you had a fantastic time, and we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week for episode 98. Thank you so much. Wow.
Bye.
Bye. I still can't hear the music.
Oh.
But
worked last
I assume it's right.
Sure, right.